Okay, so now we plugged in the gear into the computers, hook up the microphone, and we're gonna try to explain, or actually try to understand ourselves, what's going on with the current software which is provided with the gear, and how all of that stuff work together and what we can pull out of it. So let's continue to look on what's going on in here. Okay, here we are looking at the Saffire mix control. What it is, this is the software which controls the hardware. That's a basic explanation, which is pretty much supplied with Focusrite liquid channel. And here we can look at basic features of this virtual mixing console. First thing that I asked myself a question when I just opened it on my computer. There is only 16 input channels. So according to manufacturer specifications, the unit actually supposed to provide 28 input channels and 28 output channels. So far I see only 18 input channels available here and 16 output subgroups. So how the whole thing works. If we go to selection of each channel, we have a choice of picking up whatever channel we desire. So if we assign for first channel is analog input of the sound card, which uses its built-in microphone preamp and which is controlled by liquid preamp section, which we'll talk about later. Then we can go to the second channel and we can select the second and so on. The problem is we still have this limited number of channels, which is 18. So, for example, what we can do, we can select first 8 channels provided by the hardware and built-in microphone preamps. Then we can select SPDIF inputs, which is already selected on this one as we see. And then we can select another 8 inputs from the first block of ADAT channels. The second block of ADAT channels, just to remind, there is 2 ADAT inputs. Each one provides 8 channels. It will not be available if I will select them all. We can see here it's available for selection, but there is not enough room left at the mixer. So I guess we're gonna have to sacrifice something in order to process them all through this mixer. The good part is that all of these channels are actually visible on the digital audio workstation, which is used with this particular card. Whatever it is it Cubase, Logic Audio, or something else, the whole thing will be able to record 28 channels simultaneously. The only thing is that we will not be able to monitor all of them through this particular mixer. So guess what? The option so-called zero latency monitoring will be available only for 18 channels at the time. But there is several workarounds, like for example, you're recording drums in the studio and you're using like 75 microphones on that. You can just use overheads, or you can use like snare and kick just for your tracking sessions, and you're not gonna run the entire mix through your monitors in the studio. Just let them go into your recording software and they'll be fine. The same goes with mixing down of the project, which is actually, for these purposes, the manufacturers provide us with such thing called loop channel. So if we don't like the mixing matrix in our Cubase or Cakewalk or whatever we're using over here, we can use the mixing matrix built in the Saffire card. And we can send it to a loop. And for recording, we select the loop. For recording of the final mix, we select the loop as an input on your digital audio workstation. Otherwise, we can do different combinations. So the point is, for mixing down, we can select 18 channels coming from the digital audio workstation and mix the levels into a stereo signal right over here. So options are limitless if you have enough fantasy for this. So, which is quite confusing at the beginning because it's not really designed like typical analog mixer, but would be quite easier to understand as long as you go and try to get deeper. Another interesting option with each channel is they can be paired, like on average normal soundboard. They could be paired in stereos and pretty much controlled simultaneously. Balance controlled up here. They could be separately muted. They could be pre-listened at pre-fader position, and as we see how it changes over here. Basically, this one shows our monitor, what comes to our monitor outputs, which are still assignable. But settings are pretty good from the manufacturer, where monitor 1 comes to channels 7 and 8, and monitor 2 comes to channels 9 and 10. And the sound card itself provides high quality headphone amplifier.